Hi, everybody. Welcome back to class. It's Mark, and today is Friday, September the 16th. And this video covers the content for Session 5. My apologies over the mix up on the video on Session 4, and I appreciate that folks pointed out to me that the video wasn't working and we got it corrected. I think we've got a great class session lined up for this week. We're going to have one pretty lighthearted and fun assignment, and we're also going to work on the first draft of the analysis paper. Now, this will be based on the core reading that you have been writing about and one other because you're going to compare the two. There are a few chapters to be read in the textbook, including Chapter 7, Chapter 8, review of the core readings, of course, the analysis paper, which I just mentioned. There's a supplemental resource, actually several supplemental resources listed: how to find outside sources, MLA database citations. Of course, we don't use APA in this course, and I think I've already taken that one down. And then an additional PowerPoint on comparative analysis. You don't need to look at the rhetorical analysis one because I have changed this assignment, so it's not necessary. But as I always mention, supplemental resources are not something that you have to complete. If you think you're good in that area, you can skip them. If you think you need some additional information, then they're there for you. We only have two assignments for this week: the discussion board, everyday rhetorical analysis, and then the first draft. So let's get into the learning activities folder and see what's there. Of course, there's your textbook. But let's open the analysis folder and see what's there. And here are the instructions for the comparative analysis. And of course, comparative analysis is, just like it sounds, taking two things that are on similar or exactly the same subject and writing about how they're different and what they have in common, and if you can, trying to draw a conclusion between the two. And as it states, you're going to analyze two articles from the core readings. The first one, as I've mentioned, is the one you've been writing about. But then you need to find a second one that deals with the same subject. Now, it may not be exact. That's okay. But they do have to be along the same sentiment. The audience for this essay is me and the other members of the class because we will all be reading everyone's first draft. And keep in mind, this is just a draft. It's not a final. There aren't that many points associated with the draft because I understand it's a work in progress. You will make this better in the future, in the following week. But for now, it's more important to get your thoughts on paper and make good connections between the two articles rather than worrying that your grammar is perfect and that there are no typos. We will clean that up later. And I will also remove this as a requirement, and that is the purpose statement. You can just jump into your assignment. 750 words for the draft, 1,000 words for the final version. As I've stated before, if you go over 750 words, I'm the last person that's going to complain because more is always better. We can take out the parts that don't entirely belong when we do revisions, but it's more important that you get your thoughts on paper. Of course, we're writing in MLA style, and everyone's been pretty good about that. So what questions do you have to answer about the core readings, the one you've been writing about and then the second one? Well, here's a list. The differences and similarities regarding the credibility of the author or of the article. Some may be less credible than others. How they write about the theme, their perspective or their insight. Is one serious and one humorous? Are they both very serious? Again, there may not always be a difference between the two, and you might be writing more about similarities than you are differences. That's fine. I'd like to see a little bit of both, but either way, it depends on the article that you're writing about. And I won't go over this list, but you can see it goes on and on and on. You don't have to cover all of these, and I don't know that you can in 750 words, but pick the two or three that seem to make the most sense and fit best the two articles that you are writing about. Of course, you want to back up what you say as it's indicated here. And in this, I should see a lot of quotations. Author A says A, B, C, D about the following. but author B says XYZ about the same subject. Include lots of quotes. And of course, because you are quoting somebody, there absolutely should be a works cited page that lists both of the articles. And once you get that done, excuse me, it says use at least 10 quotations or paraphrases from your sources. That's a good number. 5 from each, sure. Could be 6 and 4, but let's try and be relatively even. You don't want to have 9 quotes from one source and only 1 from another. And of course, you can go over the number 10 if you think it's important. And if you paraphrase, that's fine. You don't have to include the quotation marks, but make sure you put in a citation telling me which author you are referring to. It's more clear that way when I read it. And when you get to point number 6, stop. You're just going to turn it in, and we will review it before you turn in the final version. Here's the core readings. And again, take both of the articles from the same folder because they're grouped by subject. And there is the list of supplemental resources. I'm not going to open this up, but I do recommend that everyone look at the elements of comparative analysis. This PowerPoint's actually pretty well done, and I think it will help a great deal. So although it's listed as supplemental, I think everyone should look at this. It will give you a much better idea of how to construct your essay. So let's go to the Assignments and Assessments folder. All right, here's the discussion board that we will start this week, and we will finish it in week number 6 next week. And I think one student has already posted in this. And this one is pretty entertaining, actually. You can take any of these options and write about them. And what you're going to do is create dialogue. What do you think the same person is saying to 2 different groups of people? You can make this serious, you can make this funny. This could be something that actually happened to you, or you could completely invent the whole thing. It's an exercise in writing dialogue. So how would a teenager describe a party to his or her parent, and then how would they describe the same situation to his or her friend? We all know, using this example, that that same teenager is probably going to give 2 very different stories. So make them up. Have fun with this. And in discussion 6, we'll be responding to each other, stating, I think you did this well, I think you could have beefed this section up, whatever it is we're going to say. For now, you're just doing your initial post of 200 words, but have fun with this. And here is where you turn in the draft of Writing Project 2, right here and right here. Now I want to emphasize, because this had come up, I think in this class, maybe in one other class I'm teaching at the same time, you must write in Microsoft Word. Yes, I can open a PDF, but it's difficult for me to make comments on a PDF. And if you're using an Apple product, or you're using a Mac or a tablet, that's fine. You can download Word for that tablet, for that Mac, for free. So make sure you're writing in Microsoft Word, because as you know by now, when I review these and I send you back my comments, I use the review function in Word so I can tell you what I think about it. And if you're using a Mac product, I can't do that. I'm not a Mac user myself. I'm only using Microsoft. So turn it in that way. And that seems to be the extent of it. Let me go back and take one more look around, but I think we've covered everything for this session. Again, we have one new discussion board and a little bit of reading, lots of good supplemental resources to look at, and only 2 assignments, the discussion board and then writing project number 2. How do you stay in touch with me? Well, you know the drill. 812-498-4200 is my text number. I try to answer those as soon as I receive them. You can also email me at mstenger and the number 1 at ivytech.edu. If you want to give me a call, it's 800-416-1747. That's it for this week. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you around.